Okay, this next video we're going to be looking at multiplying polynomials by polynomials. We already did multiplication by a monomial, but now we're going to do multiplication by a polynomial. So if we're doing multiplication by a polynomial, the first thing we're going to look at is multiplying a binomial times a binomial. So remember, a binomial is a two-term expression. And let's do 3x minus 2 times 5x plus 4. This can be looked at as a double distribution, or one of the things that people use a lot to do this is the idea of FOIL, F-O-I-L. And many of you will have been introduced to this in previous classes. So if we look at FOIL, F stands for the word first. That means the first term in each of the binomials. So that's the first thing you're going to do is multiply those two. So 3x times 5x is 3 times 5 is 15, and x times x is x to the second power. Okay? FOIL, F-O. O stands for the word outer. So we're looking at the outer ones, and the outer ones are 3x and plus 4. So 3x times plus 4 is plus 12x. 3 times 4 is 12 times your x. The next one is the I for inner. Okay, what are the inner ones? This is the outer. The inner are these two. Okay, so we're going to multiply the inner. Negative 2 times 5x is a minus 10x. And then the L is last. And what do we mean by last? It means the last one here and the last one here. So we have a negative 2 times 4. And negative 2 times 4 is minus 8. And after you do that multiplication, you have to combine your like terms. This one doesn't have a like term, and neither does the minus 8, but plus 12x minus 10x gives you a plus 2x. So we have 15x squared plus 2x minus 8. So as you can see, this leads exactly to these two factors multiplied together equal this trinomial. And I want you to put those thoughts in your mind, because our next lesson we're going to start taking the final answers apart back to the factors, and we call this factoring. So we're going to multiply factors together, and then later on we'll take them apart. So right now we're multiplying these together. Let's look at another one. Let's do this same one, but instead of doing FOIL, let's do it by a double distribution. When we say double distribution, what does that mean? It means that we're going to do a distribution from one term and then from the other term. So we're going to look first at this one and distribute this one to this one, and then distribute it to that one. So 3x times 5x is 15x squared, and 3x times positive 4 is plus 12x. And then we're going to take our negative 2 and distribute it to the first one, and then distribute it to the second one, which gives me negative 2 times 5x is minus 10x, and then negative 2 times 4 is minus 8. And again, combine your like terms, so you have 15x squared plus 2x minus 8. Sometimes this is a better way to do it, and FOIL only works when we have a binomial times a binomial, whereas the double distribution will work no matter what you have. Okay, so now let's look at another problem. This was a binomial times a binomial. So now let's look at three factors. 2y to the fifth times y minus 8 times y plus 2. Now remember, you can only multiply two factors at a time. And we have three factors. So we can either choose to do the first factor times the second one, or the first factor times the third, and then the result of that multiplies the other. Or we can do the second and the third, and then multiply by this. We'll do it two ways. We'll do this one first, and then these two first. So let's look at this. 2y squared times y minus 8, 2y to the fifth, multiply these two. And we're going to end up with 2y to the sixth, and 2y to the fifth times that is minus 16y to the fifth. And now this is going to multiply y plus 2. Again, now we're down to two binomials, so we can do this. 2y to the sixth times y is 2y to the seventh. Remember, you're adding your exponents. And then 2y to the sixth times 2 is going to give me plus 4y to the sixth. And negative 16y to the fifth times y is minus 16y to the sixth, because this is y to the 1. And negative 16y to the fifth times 2 is minus 32y to the fifth. Okay, now we have two like terms we can combine. So 2y to the seventh minus 4 minus 16 is a minus 12, y to the sixth minus 32y to the fifth. Okay? Now, let's do it with the other one done first. Okay? So, let's look at 2y to the fifth. And this time, we're going to multiply y minus 8 times y plus 2 first. So y times y gives you y squared. Y times 2 is plus 2y. Negative 8 times y is minus 8y. And negative 8 times 2 is minus 16. Combine our like terms. So y squared 2y minus 8y is a minus 6y, and then minus 16. Now we're going to multiply my monomial times the trinomial. So that's this way. Gives me 2y to the seventh. This one times this is minus 12y to the sixth. And then that times that is minus 32y to the fifth. And it should be exactly the same, which it is.